Hello, how y'all doing today? This is Ferrante Frazier with Savannah Natural Health. We have a wonderful show. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to our show about holistic health and healing. We've been having shows about helping with mental issues here lately. We are holistic, so we do body, mind, and spirituality. So this week, though, we're going to get back into some nutrition, and one of the main nutrition we're going to talk about is water. A lot of people think when we talk about nutrition, we're talking about food. But nutrition is not just food alone, it's the sum of all the conditions that is needed for repair, rejuvenation of the human body. So, sun also would be a form of nutrient. Air would be a form of nutrients. So, not just food alone, but we're going to be talking about water today. How you doing, Mr. Mike? Glad that you're always supporting all of our shows on ATR Media. Matter of fact, we want to ask everyone that's up here right now to stop what you're doing and like and share our show on your timeline with your friends, with your family, and become a follower of all things relevant media. Our show, Natural is F, comes on every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. We have a bunch of great shows lined up to help you understand the human body using natural science, such as biology, physiology, and all the other natural sciences. We know not dealing with medicines or anything of that nature. Miss Vanessa, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in, and please share. We appreciate all our supporters in helping us, put this on this platform of all things relevant, where we can help our community become aware of the things in the neighborhood, in their community, in their life, in their bodies that create and generate health and wealth. So, with that being said, we're going to get into this subject. I tend to run out a lot at the end of our show, so we're going to go ahead and jump in this thing where we can get a full understanding. I hope you got a paper and pen. A lot of us been having problems with all this information that we're getting off television, all the information that we're getting from newspapers, all the information that we're getting from our friends and our coaches about what should we drink. Now, ain't that something that we have to learn about what to drink, when to drink, and how much to drink? What drink is best for, to quench man thirst. And we're going to talk about what is the best drink for mankind. We tend to hear this compound that we know to be H2O, two parts hydrogen and one part oxygen. Now, this is a compound that we get when we put two elements together, and it creates this compound that is now bound together. Now, it can be changed in different formats, such as gases. It can be frozen, and it can be just a liquid. Now, most times we see it as just liquid, but this H2O is called water. Most of us just don't go around talking about, I want some H2O. Go get me a glass of H2O, boy. That's what grandma used to say. Hey, go get me a glass of water and some solid water with some liquid water, some ice water. Don't say liquid H2O and go get me some solid H2O in the glass. But it's more or less, bring me some ice water, or just bring me some water. So H2O is what we call water. So there is no other comparison to what water can be except for H2O. Now we're going to learn that H2O is pure water. Now pure water has no other items in it. Impure water have other items in it. It's more of a solution or mixture. Matter of fact, we're going to bring up a first picture one up for you. And as we bring this picture up, we're going to break down some facts, some water facts for you. Now, if you look at it, the water facts that we have up here, you see that general water facts, water is made up of two elements, hydrogen, oxygen, and its chemical formula is H2O. Now, we just talked about that. So we can go on to the next fact. Each molecule of water is made up of two hydrogen atoms bonded to a single oxygen atom. Well, we just talked about that as well. So let's go to the next one. The existence of water is essential for life on Earth. So water is very essential constituent of all the tissues and fluids of the human body. It's comprising approximately about 65% of the total body's weight. So our body weight is pretty much 65% water, in other words. Now, though it is possible to survive many weeks without food, we can go weeks and weeks without eating food, but it's not long that we can go without drinking water, maybe up to 7 days or a week per se, that we can survive without drinking water. Now, pure water, like we said, is H2O. It has no color, it has no odor, and it's without taste. It's only a substance which satisfies thirst. There is no other substance on earth that can satisfy thirst except for water. As a matter of fact, there's no other liquid on earth that is void without water. Otherwise, you're going to have a solid. All right. Its particular flavor, it can't be duplicated. You know, no one can get a patent on this clean, pure distilled water. You know, water serves as many functions in our body. So it's very important that we get the cleanest water possible if water is so important to us. It's 65% of your body. So it's very important. So it's ideal that we get clean water and not dirty water. And that's what Dr. Shelton, one of the greatest hygienic practitioners of all time, used to always call these concoctions. He'll call it, you know, a cocktail concoction. These fluoride concoctions. He'll give them the name that they really are and stop identifying them as water. But let's go on to the next fact. The next fact says that water has three different states, which is liquid, solid, and gas. All right. So this is something we already talked about as well. The different states of water. The word water usually refers to water in its liquid state. That's what we tend to call water. We tend to call ice, when it's in a solid state. All right. Also, we got where it said that we have the solid state of water is known as ice, while the gas state is called a vapor. And this is going to be very informational when we get down to talking about the greatest water for us to consume and how to get pure water back into our life. So let's go back and move that out of the way, and let's get back to what we have going on. And we're going to pull up also our picture 2 to put up there, where we can give you some information as well. It's kind of small. Hopefully you're able to see what it's actually saying. But it's actually getting you to understand a little bit about organic materials. Now, and this is going to play a big part when we start talking about alkaline water, mineral water, and spring water. And those are waters that we tend to notice that is being put out here now. Most of our television, most of our magazines, most of our nutrition podcasts, and most of you'll say the coaches of today are advocating this more mineral water, alkaline waters, water so-called with electrolytes. And we're going to break all those down in just a little bit. But organic trace minerals are not deposited in the body like inorganic forms of these elements. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Matter of fact, let's take that one off the stream, because we're going to, before we start talking about organic minerals and inorganic minerals, I got to give you a little understanding what organic and what inorganic is. All right. Inorganic and organic are two different things. Inorganic is minerals that is living, in other words. This is something that you can Google. This is something that you can look at in any chemistry book, any biology book. Inorganic is dead, lifeless. It's like eating rocks, in other words. If you notice that inorganic minerals can live on a shelf for a long period of time, they're dead, they have no life in them. But organic minerals, they are in fruits and vegetables. And once you cut into it, it's living while it's in the fruit. But soon as you cut into it, it starts oxidizing. All right. It becomes lifeless after a while. It returns back to its natural element, which is an inorganic state. It, while the fruits take the dirt and turn it into a plant into a fruit. So it takes the dirt and turn the dirt into life, in other words. So it takes rocks, soil, and air and water and sunlight and package it into a fruit. So now this fruit has living nutrients in it, living vitamins, living minerals in it. It's no longer dead. Now it's bonded to a carbon. All right. When a carbon is put to these minerals, they are now living. And then when we eat them or it's exposed to the oxygen of the air, the carbon bond is broken off of it and it becomes back a dead material. So the body can only utilize when a carbon bond is connected to minerals. It cannot use minerals when there is no carbon bond connected to it. Matter of fact, when there's no carbon bond connected to the minerals are actually toxic and they causes issues in the body. And matter of fact, we're going to look at, let's look at one of our other pictures, which would be picture number 5. I'm going to get him to pull up picture number 5 for us. And this is one of the pictures that we can put up on the screen, which is talking about chlorine. Chlorine is in our tap water. This is something that's in our tap water, and we're going to be talking about tap water now because we got different types of water. We got tap water, and that's something that you want to pay attention to. Most people right now in our world today, they're drinking water out of the tap. Now, what is tap water? Tap water is water out of the sink, in other words, that come out of your faucet in the kitchen. It also come out of your faucet outside, in the back and in the front. It comes out of the faucet in the bathroom, in the sink. It also comes out of the shower, and it also comes out in the toilet bowl. So all the water that is, linked to your house that come in the form of, city municipal water is what we consider to be tap water. Now, this is the group that we highly object to. Out of all the waters, this is the one that is most objectionable in usage. And the reason why is because this water is mixed with so many different chemicals and inorganic materials. And this is the real the true definition of dirty water. Now, a lot of people might not, well, it ain't killed me. My grandmama done been drinking it all their life, and my granddaddy done been drinking it all their life. Yeah, true. And all of them suffer disease and end up dying. Now, what if the water that we're drinking is creating those illnesses that we're trying to figure out and find cures for? We're looking for the cure for this and we're looking for the cure for that. What if it's our accumulation of habits over a period of time of slowly drinking ourselves to death by consuming these waters that are not pure. See, only pure water can hydrate the body properly without intoxicating the body, without causing harm to the body. But let's look at some of the stuff that is being put into this body. Gaseous chlorine is poisonous. If you read this, and you can just Google, just like I did, chlorine toxicology. Look up chlorine on a MSDS sheet for the United States government. You know, any MSD sheet or any type of chemical and chemistry understanding of chlorine going to give you the same stuff. I'm not making this up or wrote this up, or this is not some type of conspiracy site or anything like that. But any laboratory giving you understanding of the effects of chlorine and chlorine poisoning, if it's toxic, the toxicity level of it in when it is in our body, and it's going into our body because that's one of the main things that's put in our water. Matter of fact, when we go out into these pools in these neighborhoods, you can smell the chlorine coming off the out of the water. And, you know, we're sitting in there bathing in this chlorine poison. You know, we're also drinking it, and we're putting it in our clothes to wash our clothes. So we're all around this chlorine. This chlorine is one of the main chemicals that we are exposing our body to in all forms and all types of fashion. But let's look at the toxicity of chlorine when we use it in excess. Even in any usage is toxic, but we don't take into account that we're drinking it, we're bathing in it, and we're also washing our clothes and dishes in it as well. So it's everywhere. This chlorine is we're watering our plants, and we're watering our grass, and you know, everything is being filled with chlorine. Chlorine is being poured out all over our land, so it's being used in abundance all over us, and we're wondering why we're suffering from toxic situations in our life. We're looking for the cause. We're looking for the cause of our issues, but we're unaware of the dangers that we're living around at every moment. You know, and these are things that we can do something about when we become aware that there's something that needs to be done. So let's look at this. Gaseous chlorine is poisonous. Put that back up for me, the chlorine. Let's read that out for them. Is classified as a pulmonary irritant. All right, now let's pay attention to that. Now, we're having all these lung issues. Mostly everybody is suffering from lung issues right now. Everybody is usually coughing up stuff and having issues with breathing. But here it is. Chlorine is a poisonous and classified as a pulmonary. Pulmonary is lung and heart. All right. So it's an irritant. It irritates the lung. It has intermittent water solubility with the capability of causing acute damage to the upper and lower respiratory tract. Are you hearing what this thing's saying? We're wondering where all our lung issues coming from in this day and time, but we don't realize that we're ingesting and have put huge amounts of chlorine all around us. Chlorine gas has many industrial uses, but it was also once used as a chemical weapon in World War II. This is a chemical weapon in World War II. Now I'm going to show you something. If we look at the next picture, let's pull up the one where we're looking at the Savannah water. You can go to the Savannah website. This should be not that one. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, that one right there. If you look here, this is the website for Savannah, the city of Savannah. Now, this is not something that I just pulled up and made on my own. I don't. You can go to the website and you can see the same stuff that I'm pulling up here. But if you read it, it said water pumped from the Floridan aquifer is very pure. For treatment, we add a disinfectant during distribution and fluoride to promote dental health. In the surface water treatment process, it said, what is that? Hold on, let me pull mine up where I can see it better. It said, Alum and polymer are added to the water to cause fine mud particles to clump together and settle out of the water. It said the clear water is then filtered, disinfected with chlorine, people. It's right down here, almost at the bottom, like the fourth line, where you see it disinfected with chlorine and ammonia and balanced for pH and corrosiveness with lime and phosphate. Now, listen at all these things that's being poured into your tap water. So we're subjected to all this poisoning, all these poisonous substances. Now, that was just chlorine that we looked at. If we pull up something else, let's look at another slide where we were talking about the effects of, let's see here. We also got one where we're looking at what does arsenic poisoning do? All right, yes, that's exactly the one that we need right there. What does arsenic poison feel like? When the poisoning becomes acute, symptoms may include diarrhea, vomiting blood in the urine, cramping muscles, hair loss, stomach pain, and more convulsion. The organs of the body that are usually affected by arsenic poison are the lungs, skin, kidneys, and liver. Is these not the issues that we're suffering from in our day and time now? But here it is, for years, our cities and our states have been pumping us full of these poisons, all in the hopes of purifying and cleaning our water. So the water is not clean from purifying the water. It's cleansed by adding stuff to the water. You see what I'm coming from? Let's look at a couple of more, and then we're going to get out and start teaching a little more. If we look at picture where we're talking about chlorine poisoning, let's pull up the one that say chlorine poisoning serious and causes symptoms including nausea and vomiting, coughing and wheezing, burning sensation. All right. So you can look this stuff up. This is clearcomfort.com. These are all even where we had the University of Kentucky. These are laboratories that have been doing studies on the effects of toxicity. So here it is. It say nausea and vomiting, coughing and wheezing, burning sensation in eyes, noses, and throat, rash or burning skin, shortness of breath, dizziness, watery eyes. These all effects of poisoning that we're going through, symptoms of disease, these colds, these flus, these pneumonias that we're going through. This is the body freeing itself of these poisons. All right. And it's a shame that, we're unaware that we've been ingesting these poisons in our body for a long time. Because think about it. They say that it's only a certain amount that is allowed in our water system. But it's not like we're drinking one glass of water. We're drinking this glass of water constantly. And if you notice here in Savannah, it's saying that it's dumping the water, it's got a recall system that is using some of the recall water to send back through our system. So, it's doing is just filtering out the solid material, throwing in a couple of chemicals, and then sending it back out there to be used, or throwing it back into the Savannah River, and the river goes out to Tybee Beach, and where we're swimming at, where we go out there and do all our fishing at, where we're eating the waste that is being poured back into the water and into the ocean, and we're swimming out there. Not only that, you got 48 different, and you can look up the Corps engineers of Savannah. You got a lot of them right now saying that 48 different industries pump their waste into the Savannah River. Now, ain't that something? You got all of them pumping their waste into the Savannah River. I said, wow, Mike said, so I shouldn't even be in a swimming pool with chlorine. I wouldn't. All it's going to do is seep into your body and cause irritation to your skin, cause rash. Doesn't it burn when you come out of there? You have the tightening, the different sensation in your body. This is the weakening. It might not kill you outright. That's a lot of things that, us as humans don't realize. Just because it don't kill us outright, it's still weakening and tearing our body down. And when it get to a point of total weakening, then we don't realize what is causing our disease. We're like, what is going on here? Why am I sick? Then we blame it on a virus. We blame it on a germ. All the while, it's been our mode of living over a long period of time. Now, let's get away from the tap water. We realize that this is the most objectionable one. Now, you see why we say this is the one that we object to the most. So I just wanted to put up some evidence for you to, not just take my word for it and be able to like, I'm going to drink water. I'm going to make my ice water out of that water. It tastes so good coming out of the faucet outside on a hot summer's day. That doesn't mean it's healthy for you. You got evidence that it's got a bunch of poison in. We didn't even stop to talk about fluoride in that yet. Fluoride is a poison. They say that it's good for the teeth, but if you notice that, that's something that used to be given to us in school when we were young. We used to always get this pumped up little cup of fluoride that they would come around and give to all, take us to the cafeteria or come in the classroom, and we all would have to get a couple of 3 little pumps, and we had to sit there and just wash around in our mouth and then spit it back out. And we would do this every so often. This stuff you don't even see them doing in the school no more. If it was something that was very important, because this was the science at the time. And a lot of us believe that science is accurate and never make mistakes, and everything they say is law and God, in other words. But over time, they had us thinking that was a cure for, cavities, a prevention for cavities, help. And look, most of our teeth are falling out around here. It's not protecting no one. We're having the biggest rise of cavity. Go to the dentist today, and you'll see that he barely got room to take anybody in because of all the people that's coming there from having dental caries. So the so-called brushing your teeth with so-called brushes and with all this fluoride and flossing and all this Listerine and all type of stuff, they're not protecting your teeth. Teeth are not protected from the outside. It's protected from what you eat and your exposure to sunlight to get proper vitamin D to create strong bone. So what we're being told is being misled by these mental bandits, these medical bandits, in other words. Ms. Hall says, what are your sentiments on bathing and showering using tap water? Like I said here again, it's going to be the most toxic condition. You may have to just get you a bin and get you some distilled water and wash yourself off, like how they used to do in the old days. Or get you a filter on your house and filter out your water and matter of fact, that's what we come to when we talk about well and spring water. Most of those waters you're not going to even want to take a shower with, because we know well water or mineral water is what you call hard water. All right, it's hard water. Soft water has no impurities in it. Hard water has a bunch of impurities, inorganic materials in there, and they tend to dry your skin out. So you get these water softeners that soften your water by filtering out the inorganic materials that make the water more usable in your house, because this is what they used to do out there. So we have a purification system. Purification system is going to get out the hard materials. Now, it don't get out the chemicals in your water, but it will get out of the solid material that it can filter going through the screen. But gases is a vapor, so it's actually infused into the water and need to be vapored out. This way you get a distillation purification system to do such a thing, to give you the most purest form of water, which we will be coming to in just a second. But that well and spring water is we kind of group them together because they just have minerals in them. It's just mineral water. Spring water is still mineral water too, because it's coming from a spring source that have a bunch of minerals in it from riding against or across the rocks, picking up dirt as it flows through, different wastes of fish and other animals that have been defecating in there, dying in there, decomposing in the water. So the water is filled up with materials, in other words. So this is what we're drinking when we drink these spring waters. We're drinking the decaying animals that have died in it, all the vomiting and defecation and all type of stuff that resulted in this water, all the rocks and dust and other bugs and other things that live in this water. This is what makes it the spring water with different types of minerals in it. Also, the well water is the same because it's going against rocks out of the earth itself and other minerals that are, sulfur and different things. Matter of fact, you can tell the taste in these waters according to the elements that is in higher demand. If you go in areas that have high sulfur in the water, in the well water, you're going to have that egg and that rotten smell going on. So these are things that you're not going to want to ingest in your body either, because if it's causing your outside to dry up, imagine it's dehydrating your inside as well if you're drinking these things. They're not satisfying thirst in the way that they're supposed to. Matter of fact, inorganic materials, when they are taken into the body, such as these minerals that we're taking in from spring water and well water and mineral water, those things are actually getting caught up in our cells. They're getting logged up in our cells because we can't use them. Anything that the body can't use, it tends to eliminate. And if it can't eliminate, it tends to accumulate. All right. So if it can't eliminate the toxins rapidly, it will accumulate it until it has the ability to detox it. All right. So until then, though, these inorganic materials are being stored in tissues and throughout our body. And guess what they're doing while they're sitting there? They're not just sitting there, just, on the shelf, just sitting there doing nothing. They're irritating the cells that are next to them. They're destroying tissues and interrupting different processes in your body. So this is why we're having a lot of the health issues that we have, because we have all these inorganic materials being suspended inside of us. And the only way to get these toxic materials out of our body is by eating organic minerals that will neutralize them and help issue them out of the body. This is the only way to get those inorganic heavy metals out of our body, is to ingest organic minerals and vitamins to allow neutralization of those heavy metals, where they can safely be thrown out of the system of the body. But let's even go into our famous alkaline water, because that's one of the main things that's going on. Not only alkaline water, also these so-called electrolyte water, which is the same thing. It's nothing different in this terminology. It's just different scientists coming with different names to throw us off. When we get tired of eating ice cream, they make sorbet. When we get tired of sorbet, they'll make sherbet. When we get tired of sherbet, it's just going from one ice cream to another, just a little alteration, but it's still pretty much the same thing. Alkaline water is just mineral enhanced water. Mineral water is just mineral enhanced water. Spring water is just mineral enhanced water. Electrolytes is just alkaline enhanced water, which alkaline enhanced water is just mineral enhanced water. It's no difference. Alkaline minerals is just alkaline water, So there's really no, it's just a play on words to get you to buy it, to make it cost more. If you drinking some 9.0 enhanced, alkaline enhanced water, you're drinking a highly mineralized water. That's it. It's just got a bunch of minerals dissolved in a mixture. Now, the thing about a mixture is not water per se. Water is just that. It's a compound. We talked about that at the beginning of this. But a solution is a mixture. Anything that is a solution, a mixture, is meaning that you can take away, evaporate the water, and the minerals will still be there. All right. So it's not a part of water. It's just mixed in the water, just like salt, for example. You put salt into water, it'll dissolve in the water. But if you evaporate the water away, the salt will still be left right there in the cup. But you can't see it when you dissolve it in the water. But when you evaporate the water, the salt will reappear. So this is what you call a solution or a mixture. And that's impure water, because all impurities is left when the true water is vapored away from it. So pure water is going to be with nothing else in there except for H2O. That's the compound. All other elements that is added to the water makes the water now a solution or a mixture. And all mixtures are impure. All those ingredients that we add to water makes the water or creates impurities in our water. And our body must deal with those impurities when they come in. Now, this alkaline water is such a thing. And not only is alkaline water toxic because of itself as being impurities, just like any other type of mineral water, spring water, or anything of that nature. It also, when we ingest these high levels of alkaline minerals, we offset the pH balance of our body. We can throw the pH balance off. Now, you got to think about it. Just because they're saying it's alkaline don't mean that we can be that alkaline. Our bodies still have to be in a certain level. The blood, if you look it up, have to maintain a pH balance of 7.34 and 7.44, I think 4.45. It's a small window. It's really small. It's not a big window. To go over the 7, let's say to go over 8, really, if the blood go over 7.5, it's a possibility of you getting sick and dying. So when we throw these huge amounts of inorganic alkaline minerals into our body, we're offsetting our pH balance. Our body, when we eat fruits and vegetables, they are combined properly with acids and alkaline, and they're in the right balance to help keep our blood at a proper pH balance. And then at the same time, when we overindulge in it, these extra alkaline materials got to go and set up in the bone, got to go set up in our joints, got to go set up in our muscles, and have to set up in our nervous processes. They cause inflammation. We get meningitis and all the other itises. We get the itises in our muscles. We get the itises in our joints and bone. All right. So that's usually coming from the chemicals that we're ingesting and these different alkaline poisonings that we're getting from all these waters. And if you notice that, if you read at the bottom, a lot of us think that these alkaline minerals are added for health. But if you read at the bottom of most of all your waters, it'll say electrolytes enhanced for taste. It doesn't say for health. It doesn't say that they added magnesium for your health. It doesn't say that it added potassium for your health. It doesn't say it adds calcium for your health. It says it does so for taste. That's it. You're used to tasting inorganic minerals in your water. You're used to tasting these toxins in the water. So they got to have a familiar taste. They can't have you drinking clean water because you're going to be able to, what is this? I don't like the way this tastes. Because we are used to drinking dirty water, according to Dr. Shelton. So it's very important that we identify what we're drinking. But let's even go to the next thing. And our next one, we're going to look at rain and distilled water. All right. Now, we're going to talk about rain and distilled water, but we're going to talk about why we object to the rainwater. Rainwater is the ideal water to drink at one period in time in history. Rainwater was the cleanest water. That's the way nature water all her plants, and supply fresh water to the streams and the rivers that need the fresh water. It comes, all these lakes and stuff like that. They get water from the rain. We rain on our cities, and we capture this good rainwater back in the days and utilize it. People on farms, they catch the rainwater and utilize this. Miss Tanya said, I won't even ask you about Kool-Aid. Yeah, there's nothing cool about that age, Yeah, you want to definitely stay away from any type of concoction. We call them mixtures, solution. They cannot hydrate the body. But objections to this rainwater is that we have so much pollution in our air now. We have so much pollution in the atmosphere from all this bombing, all these airplanes, all these other toxins from our power plants and our industrial factories and all that's polluting our air. All this stuff have a bunch of toxins in the air, and so when rain comes, the rain brings down with it those toxins. So we'll be catching some impure water because now the atmosphere has been so saturated with poison. So the rainwater itself now is not the ideal for the best water to sustain ourselves for perfect hydration. And also we have to pay attention to some other thing. If it's not good for us to catch now, this is the water that's watering, like we said, our world now. So obviously our world is being affected by the rainwater as well. That's why we're not getting proper growth. That's why we're not creating general health around the world, and we're suffering with all these abnormal parasites and stuff that's growing in our world because we're putting chemicals, we're spreading chemicals and toxins all throughout the world through our habits. So we got to realize that the air is not just over America. The water that we have don't just hydrate just America. We're on a planet together, and whatever one person do on this planet affect everyone on this planet. I don't care if you just sneeze, that affected everybody, even on the other side of the planet. So it's ideal that we start practicing not only personal health, but we also need to take care of our natural health, such as our nature. Our planet needs to be restored back to health, just like we need to be restored back to health. We need to eat right. We need to drink right. We need to exercise and do a lot of other natural ways of fixing our personal health. The damage that we've done to Mother Earth need to be taken care of as well. We need to learn how to properly reconstruct our soils where we can, protect our lands and before they become barren and nothing grows. We have nothing but sand. I noticed that some fields we go to, they white and it's sandy. They don't even look like true healthy soil because it got so many 10-10-10 in it. So much chemical fertilizers from years of throwing down into the soil and mixing into the soil that the soil has become dead. It's no longer having parasites growing in the soil to churn and mix up the soil. You see no earthworms or any type of bugs in the ground anymore doing the work of churning and enriching in the soil. The soil is dead. There's nothing growing in the soil. No animals won't even come to the soil because of all the chemicals. This is where we see that we have to just change the way that we're living to create a healthier life. And also we got to notice that this is leaching these poisons throughout our world into our waterways. When we have all these different poisons that's being introduced into our lives, chemicals. We got to get back to nature. We got to start living natural as a F, people, and get away from this chemical, because we're chemical as a F right now. We're unnatural as a F. And we got to tighten up, change that, come back natural, live natural. When we destroy this planet, where will we go, people? When our air becomes toxic, what shall we breathe, people? When our water become undrinkable, what shall we do, people? When the earth won't yield anything to us anymore, what shall we do, people? Are we going to go to our scientists and ask them to come up with some type of something? Ask them, what could they do for us now? What kind of concoction can they make to get us out of this condition? Or we can start now and take our own responsibility by growing something right in our yard. Start producing our own food. Start, demanding fresh, clean water and don't buy anything else. Once we do those things, then we'll re-change the way these people are providing us food, because we will only demand the right thing. But let's look at the ideal water, because we're running out of time here. I told you that I tend to jam pack a lot in the show, and I want to be able to get some of this stuff out. They're telling us we don't have that much time left on air, so we got to make sure that we leave you with a great point to understand, and make sure that you tune into all our shows. Our shows are every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Hit like, share with your family, friend. We got a great guest that's coming on next week. So you won't just hear me talking and running my mouth, doing all this teaching. We're going to interact with somebody else. And it's a love alchemist. So if there's issues that you need to learn about intimacy and relationship, we're going to introduce one of his great handbooks on helping with relationship. This is a show that you don't want to miss. He's really prolific in talking about building structural family relationships. So make sure you tune in next week. And for some, get to meet, and for others, to reintroduce a very intellectual man. I don't want to spoil the fun just yet, but you'll see him next week. So make sure you tune in where you can hear someone else talk on Natural as F. But let's get back to the distilled water now. Distilled water is our saving technique to help us hydrate our body without using rainwater. Now, rainwater, this distilled water mimics rainwater without the toxins of the atmosphere. So think about what happens with the rain. You can go to any science book and study how rain comes down over the earth. At first, where the sun heats up the water in the ocean or other areas of bodies of water, and it vaporizes the water up into a cloud, and the cloud travels over the earth, cool and condensed, and comes down as pure, clean water. Now, all the toxins were left in the ocean or in that body or spring somewhere. And only the vapor of the hydrogen and the oxygen was able to escape the ocean due to the sun heating it up and vaporizing it and bringing it over as a cloud, and then it comes down as clean water, except for our atmosphere has done away with the cleanliness of that water. But the distillation process, look it up. not making this up, people. This is stuff that you can go and find out about the distillation process, the vapor distilled process, and create impure, clean water. It does the same thing. It heats up the water in one chamber and it creates a vapor, and that vapor escapes into another chamber and it cools down these cooling coils, and it cools and condenses and it becomes just water, and all the impurities is left in that first container. So you get clean water. And then you can drink this pure, clean water without having any chlorine, without having any arsenic. So you don't have to worry about respiratory issues. You don't have to worry about rashes and all type of other diseases of the liver, kidneys, and lungs from all this tap water, all these electrolytes, and all these other type of impurities that is in your water. Now, a lot of people want to say that distilled water is dead water. These are a lot of the so-called reasons people tell us you don't need to drink that distilled water because distilled water is going to leach minerals out of your body. It's going to leach. It's dead water. Now, there is no living water. You know, the inorganic materials that they pour into the water is not even living. How can mineral water be charged water? How can spring water be charged water? It's dead materials in there. Those inorganic minerals don't have life. Look it up. Inorganic materials is dead material. It's just dead rock. Has no life in it. You know, only the living material, plant life, brings that dead into life through photosynthesis. You know, so here it is. The only we don't drink water for vitamins and minerals. That's why we eat predominantly fruits and vegetables. A diet that is high in predominantly fruits and vegetables will supply the body with all the vitamins and minerals that's needed. And we drink water just to acquire fluid, liquid, to help with transportation, creating mucus, helping with blood formulation, helping with lymphatic formulation, helping produce insulin, because we can't have no solid insulin coming from the pancreas. We can't have solid enzymes and gastric juices in the stomach. You know, we can't have solid blood flowing through our veins. Those are watery, liquidy processes. So we got to make sure that we keep a level of water in our body, and it's ideal that that water is pure and clean. That's the only reason for that. The rest of the nutrition is taken by what we eat. So it's very important that we eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, how much water should we drink? That's some other things that we need to talk about as well. Because it looked like we running on a couple of minutes left here, and we got the Alicia Blakely show next, and y'all definitely need to stay tuned for her. Y'all always know she got a powerful show lined up. Matter of fact, all the shows that ATR Media has been putting forth has been really relevant to our community and at large to a lot of people, because it's not only in this community. The things that we're talking about affects all communities across the land. Every place I've traveled to are suffering from the same issue that we're suffering from here. And it comes from our ignorance and not knowing. But this is where this platform brings awareness to those people here and there and everywhere. It's just that we need you to tune in. We need you to look and share to other people. Don't just keep this knowledge for yourself. I know you love looking at us and you want to keep us to yourself as a gift, but share it to all the people around. ATR Media, our show every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Now, how much water should we drink? Well, are you thirsty? You know, you don't sit there and just drink just to keep drinking. You can log your cells by over drinking. Matter of fact, we had an issue once in the United States where a radio show talk host had a game going to see how much a woman could drink, how many gallons of water she could drink in an hour. And the lady ended up dying from drinking too much water by doing that game. She waterlogged her cells and died. Now, so you can drink too much water. Water should be drunken when thirsty. And according to if it's hot, You know, if it's a hot day and you're sweating more, then yeah, you might need to ingest a little more water. If you're you get up, well, not get up, because usually when you get up, your urine going to look like apple juice. But if it's looking like apple juice all through the day, then you need to take a little more water. You're suffering with maybe mild dehydration. Also, if it looked like lemonade, you should be okay. If it start looking watery and it just looking clear, then you're probably drinking too much water. If you excessively run into the bathroom with clear water and you're not suffering from diabetes or on diuretics or anything like that, then you might be also ingesting too much water as well. Now, if you're on diuretics, then you're going to be running to the bathroom. You're going to be highly thirsty if you're diabetic, and you're going to be constantly running to the bathroom, getting rid of sugar and sugary water out of your system. So those things have to be taken into effect as well. I want to share a poem where it says, "I like to teach the world to drink a glass of distilled water, a glass for father, a glass for mother, a glass for sons and daughters." So with that being said, I want to wish you a great week. And say, I was told to drink 20 ounces per 20 pounds. So if you weigh 100 pounds, drink 20 ounce bottle. I wouldn't suggest that. I drink when I'm thirsty, or when thirst demands itself. We don't just go to the gas station every time we pass by a gas station, or because a little bit of we use a quarter gallon, we got to keep going. We don't do that. The average person don't. Some people might have a compulsive act that makes them maintain something like that, but we usually re-up when the need arises. Everything is on a need, not just compulsively doing. And no one can tell you what you need, and everybody need different water amounts at different times. So we can't be on a schedule like that, and everybody can't be unified on how much water to drink, 6-8 glasses. Everybody? I might need 10. I might need 20. A person who sits in the house all day don't need to drink the same amount as a person who's working out there on the railroad, bamming steel all day long, in 98-degree weather or 112-degree weather. So each person is, you say personal in their needs for it. That's why I said when thirst is the true signal that you need to drink water. If you feel thirsty, pay attention to your urine flow. Those things is ideal with helping you to know how much water you should be drinking. But we need to make sure that is the ideal water when we do drink. All right. So I want to tell all y'all, thank y'all for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Make this platform the best platform because it's teaching truth and giving you the ability to think for yourself and protect yourself from all the mischief that is going about in our society today. Best of health and happiness. I'm so thankful for being allowed to have this platform to teach what I've been entrusted to know, this holistic health and healing we call natural hygiene. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Natural is F. Best of health and happiness. Great week.